fishies. I see all of the pops in chat. Let me go ahead and take a sip of water. And I have some last things to finish fixing up, but it's great to see you. Thank you for joining me on this fine Saturday. Congratulations to Shattered on redeeming first in chat. Hello Dova. Hello Pro Self Love. Hello Gluck. Bye Fu. Mighty Mouse. Best of. Deception. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me. You guys really like the pop sounds. I love that you like the pop sounds. Okay, I have also been given the glorious knowledge of a fidget spinner. And this is my first experience having the fidget spinner. So I want to see for myself, how does this work? And how do you use it? Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you so much for following. It's great to have you today, and I am grateful that you've chose to spend your Saturday with me. I don't know that fidget spinners work well underwater. Let's find out. Hi, Ferris. Let's see. I want to try this fidget spinner for myself. Guys, can you believe we're almost at 3,400 followers? We're so close. Oh my god, this fidget spinner is so cool. You can also change how it looks. Somebody can use through 100 bits to make it a blue. Yeah, there's a fidget spinner on the Twitch live stream. So if you feel it necessary to play with the fidget spinner while I'm reading, you can use the fidget spinner overlay and you can fidget and spin. We do also have puzzles, so you can still solve a puzzle while I read. But without further ado, what do my fishies say we get into some reading? Put a 1 in chat if you're ready to read. If you are all comfy and all cozy. Hi Chain, hi Azure, hi Subway. We've got Pro Self Love is ready, Subway Spidey is ready, Ferris is ready, Chain is ready. You didn't catch up on last night's. Oh, well, I can summarize it for you. So, our main cast of characters have gone to see Oz, and they have been told they need to destroy the Wicked Witch of the West. And if they destroy the Wicked Witch of the West, they will be granted each their wish. Hi, Mircea. It's the cutest fishy. You couldn't possibly be talking about me. I don't know what's going on with my arms. Please ignore my broken hands. I don't know what's going on. I think I broke something somewhere, but we'll just act like it's not broken at all, okay? Yippee. Yes, if the wizard grants their wishes, they will become VTubers. And then it becomes a horror story. So, if you're here to enjoy the reading, buckle up, get all snuggly and cozy, get your tea, take a sip of water, and let's begin reading. I do need to move this over here so I can be notified when we have advertisements. And if you're worried at all on Twitch about advertisements, I believe there is a command for it that you would be able to use in order to see when the next ad is coming. I don't remember what it is though, but there is an ad timer somewhere. Oh, it is ! Next ad. Okay? So, if you are just now joining us, we are reading The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. If you would like to play with a fidget spinner while I read, you can join us on Twitch. If you would like a fishy in the background, you can send a message on Twitch or on YouTube. If you would like to solve a puzzle while I read to you, you can check the sorry. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you. Hi, Wood. Hi, Wizard. Hi, Biggs. Hi, Jackson. Yes, you are a good boy. If you would like to solve a puzzle, you can join the link in my profile. There's a button that says Community Puzzle. And if you are on Twitch, you can just say the word puzzle and you will get the link for the puzzle. Without further ado, let's get into Chapter 13 of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And also to our chatters in TikTok, it would greatly help me if as we get new people coming in and they ask, hey, what are you doing? I would appreciate if you let them know that we are reading The Wizard of Oz. Thank you. Chapter 13. The Rescue. The Cowardly Lion was much pleased to hear that the Wicked Witch had been melted by a bucket of water, and Dorothy at once unlocked the gate of his prison and set him free. They went in together to the castle, where Dorothy's first act was to call all the Winkies together and tell them that they were no longer slaves. There was great rejoicing among the yellow Winkies, for they had been made to work hard during many years for the Wicked Witch, who had always treated them with great cruelty. They kept this day as a holiday, then and ever after, and spent the time in feasting and dancing. If our friends, the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman, were only with us, said the Lion, I should be quite happy. Don't you suppose we could rescue them? Asked the girl anxiously. We can try, answered the lion. So they called the yellow Winkies and asked them if they would help to rescue their friends. And the Winkies said that they would be delighted to do all in their power for Dorothy, who had set them free from bondage. So she chose a number of the Winkies who looked as if they knew the most, and they all started away. They traveled that day and part of the next until they came to the rocky plain where the Tin Woodman lay, all battered and bent. His axe was near him, but the blade was rusted and the handle broken off short. The Winkies lifted him tenderly in their arms, carried him back to the yellow castle again, Dorothy shedding a few tears by the way at the sad plight of her old friend, and the lion looked sober and sorry. When they reached the castle, Dorothy said to the Winkies, "Are any of your people tinsmiths?" "Oh yes, some of us are very good tinsmiths," they told her. "Then bring them to me," she said. And when the tinsmiths came, bringing with them all their tools in baskets, she inquired, "Can you strengthen out those dents in the Tin Woodman and bend him back into shape again? And solder him together where he's broken?" The tinsmiths looked the woodman over carefully and then answered that they thought they could mend him so he would be as good as ever. So they set to work in one of the big yellow rooms of the castle and worked for 3 days and 4 nights, hammering and twisting and bending and soldering and polishing and pounding at the legs and body and head of the Tin Woodman, until at last he was straightened out into his old form, and his joints worked as well as ever. To be sure, there were several patches on him, but the tinsmiths did a good job. And as the woodman was not a vain man, he did not mind the patches at all. When, at last, he walked into Dorothy's room and thanked her for rescuing him, he was so pleased that he wept tears of joy, and Dorothy had to wipe every tear carefully from his face with her apron, so his joints would not be rusted. At the same time, her own tears fell thick and fast at the joy of meeting her old friend again, and these tears did not need to be wiped away. As for the lion, he wiped his eyes so often with the tip of his tail that it became quite wet, and he was obliged to go out into the courtyard and hold it in the sun till it dried. "If only we had the Scarecrow with us again," said the Tin Woodman, when Dorothy had finished telling him everything that had happened. "I should be quite happy." "We must try to find him," said the girl. So she called the Winkies to help her, and they walked all that day and part of the next until they came to the tall tree in the branches of which the winged monkeys had tossed the Scarecrow's clothes. It was a very tall tree, and the trunk was so smooth that no one could climb it. But the woodman said at once, "I'll chop it down, and then we can get the Scarecrow's clothes." Now, while the tinsmiths had been at work mending the woodman himself, another of the Winkies, who was a goldsmith, had made an axe handle of solid gold and fitted it to the woodman's axe, instead of the old broken handle. Others polished the blade until all the rust was removed and it glistened like burnished silver. As soon as he had spoken, the Tin Woodman began to chop, and in a short time the tree fell over with a crash, whereupon the Scarecrow's clothes fell out of the branches and rolled off on the ground. Dorothy picked them up and had the Winkies carry them back to the castle, where they were stuffed with nice, clean straw. And behold, here was the Scarecrow, good as ever, thanking them over and over again for saving him. Now that they were reunited, Dorothy and her friends spent a few happy days at the Yellow Castle, where they found everything they needed to make them comfortable. But one day, the girl thought of Aunt Em and said, "We must go back to Oz and claim his promise." "Yes," said the Tin Woodman. "At last I shall get my heart." "And I shall get my brains," added the Scarecrow joyfully. "And I shall get my courage," said the Lion thoughtfully. "And I shall get back to Kansas," cried Dorothy, clapping her hands. "Oh, let us start for the Emerald City tomorrow." This they decided to do. The next day, they called the Winkies together and bade them goodbye. The Winkies were very sorry to have them go. And they had grown so fond of the Tin Woodman that they begged him to stay and rule over them in the yellow land of the West. Finding they were determined to go, the Winkies gave Toto and the Lion each a golden collar, and to Dorothy they presented a beautiful bracelet studded with diamonds. And to the Scarecrow they gave a gold-headed walking stick to keep him from stumbling. And to the Tin Woodman they offered a silver oil can inlaid with gold and set with precious jewels. Every one of the travelers made the Winkies a pretty speech in return, and all shook hands with them until their arms ached. Dorothy went to the witch's cupboard to fill her basket with food for the journey, and there she saw the golden cap. She tried it on her own head and found that it fitted her exactly. She did not know anything about the charm of the golden cap, but she saw that it was pretty, so she made up her mind to wear it and carry her sunbonnet in the basket. Then, being prepared for the journey, they all started for the Emerald City, and the Winkies gave them 3 cheers and many good wishes to carry with them. And that is the end of chapter 13. We do have an ad starting soon as well, so that is perfect timing. Sammy, it's great to see you. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. And Chris, my palito de pescado, I hope that you are doing well. And Jackson, if you've already left, I hope that you have a peaceful and relaxing afternoon. Hey chat, this is the time for you to take a big sip of water. To fix your posture, let's take a big, deep breath. We're gonna wait for the ads on Twitch to finish playing. Hi, Zako. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's take a big stretch, chat. Big stretch. All right, and take a deep breath with me. Okay, let's do it again. Another deep breath. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Who's doing the puzzle? You are doing such a great job on that puzzle. You're so cute, thank you. With the smiley face. 6 ads before the actual show. I get it. I know what that's like. Alright. We are back from the ads. Put a 1 in chat if you're ready to resume with chapter 14. Put a 1 in chat, 1 in chat, 1 in chat, 1 in chat. Pro Self-Love is ready. Shattered is ready. Waifu is ready. Harukin is ready. Do we have anybody in TikTok chat? Anybody in YouTube chat? Are you ready? Dova is doing the puzzle. Wood is ready. Okay. Hi, Kev. It's great to see you again. Welcome back. All right. Hi, Black Rose. Are you ready for some more reading? Let's go. Chapter 14. The Winged Monkeys. You will remember there was no road, not even a pathway, between the castle of the Wicked Witch and the Emerald City. When the 4 travelers went in search of the witch, she had seen them coming, and so sent the winged monkeys to bring them to her. It was much harder to find their way back through the big fields of buttercups and yellow daisies than it was being carried. They knew, of course, they must go straight east toward the rising sun, and they started off in the right way. But at noon, when the sun was over their heads, they did not know which was east and which was west, and that was the reason they were lost in the great fields. They kept on walking, however, and at night the moon came out and shone brightly. So they lay down among the sweet-smelling yellow flowers and slept soundly until the morning, all but the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman. The next morning, the sun was behind a cloud, but they started on, as if they were quite sure which way they were going. "If we walk far enough," said Dorothy, "I'm sure we shall sometime come to some place." But day by day passed away, and they still saw nothing before them but the scarlet fields. The Scarecrow began to grumble a bit. "We surely have lost our way," he said, "and unless we find it again in time to reach the Emerald City, I shall never get my brains." "Nor I my heart," declared the Tin Woodman. "It seems to me I can scarcely wait till I get to Oz, but you must admit this is a very long journey." "You see," said the Cowardly Lion with a whimper, "I haven't the courage to keep tramping forever without getting anywhere at all." Then Dorothy lost heart. She sat down on the grass and looked at her companions, and they sat down and looked at her. And Toto found that for the first time in his life, he was too tired to chase a butterfly that flew past his head. So he put out his tongue and panted, and looked at Dorothy as if to ask, what should they do next? Suppose we could call the field mice? She suggested. They could probably tell us the way to the Emerald City. To be sure they could, cried the Scarecrow. Why didn't we think of that before? Dorothy blew the little whistle she had always carried around her neck since the Queen of the Mice had given it to her. In a few minutes, they heard the pattering of tiny feet, and many of the small gray mice came running up to her. Among them was the Queen herself, who asked, in her squeaky voice, "What can I do for my friends?" "We have lost our way," said Dorothy. "Can you tell us where the Emerald City is?" "Certainly," answered the Queen. "But it is a great way off, for you have had it at your backs all this time." Then she noticed Dorothy's golden cap and said, "Why don't you use the charm of the cap and call the winged monkeys to you? They will carry you to the city of Oz in less than an hour." "I didn't know there was a charm," answered Dorothy in surprise. "What is it?" "It is written inside the golden cap," replied the Queen of the Mice. "But if you are going to call the winged monkeys, we must run away, for they are full of mischief and think it a great fun to plague us." "Won't they hurt me?" asked the girl anxiously. "Oh, no! We must obey the wearer of the cap. Goodbye!" And she scampered out of sight, with all the mice hurrying after her. Dorothy looked inside the golden cap and saw some words written upon the lining. These, she thought, must be the charm, so she read the directions carefully and put the cap upon her head. "Epe, pepe, kake," she said, standing on her left foot. "What did you say?" asked the Scarecrow, who did not know what she was doing. "Hilo, holo, hello," Dorothy went on, standing this time on her right foot. "Hello," replied the Tin Woodman calmly. "Zizi, Zuzi, Zeke," said Dorothy, who was now standing on both feet. This ended the saying of the charm, and they heard a great chattering and flapping of wings as the band of winged monkeys flew up to them. The king bowed low before Dorothy and asked, "What is your command?" "We wish to go to the Emerald City," said the child, "and we have lost our way." "We will carry you," replied the king. And no sooner had he spoken than two of the monkeys caught Dorothy in their arms and flew away with her. Others took the Scarecrow and the Woodman and the Lion, and one little monkey seized Toto and flew after them, although the dog tried hard to bite him. The Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman were rather frightened at first, for they remembered how badly the winged monkeys had treated them before. But they saw that no harm was intended, so they rode through the air quite cheerfully, and had a fine time looking at the pretty gardens and woods far below them. Dorothy found herself riding easily between two of the biggest monkeys, one of them the king himself. They had made a chair of their hands, and were careful not to hurt her.
"Why do you have to obey the charm of the golden cap?"
she asked. "It is a long story," answered the king, with a winged laugh. "But as we have a long journey before us, I will pass the time by telling you about it, if you wish."
"I shall be glad to hear it,"
she replied. "Once," began the leader, "we were a free people, living happily in the great forest, flying from tree to tree, eating nuts and fruits, and doing just as we pleased without calling anybody master. Perhaps some of us were rather too full of mischief at times, flying down to pull the tails of the animals that had no wings, chasing birds, and throwing nuts at the people who walked in the forest. But we were careless and happy and full of fun, and enjoyed every minute of the day. This was many years ago, long before Oz came out of the clouds to rule over this land. There lived here, then, away at the north, a beautiful princess who was also a powerful sorceress. All her magic was used to help the people, and she was never known to hurt anybody who was good. Her name was Gaelet, and she lived in a handsome palace built from great blocks of ruby. Everyone loved her, but her greatest sorrow was that she could find no one to love in return, since all the men were much too stupid and ugly to mate with one so beautiful and wise. At last, however, she found a boy who was handsome and manly and wise beyond his years. Gaelet made up her mind that when he grew to be a man, she would make him her husband, and so she took him to her ruby palace and used all her magic powers to make him as strong and good and lovely as any woman could wish. When he grew to manhood, Kailala, he was called, was said to be the best and wisest in the land, while his manly beauty was so great that Gaelet loved him dearly and hastened to make everything ready for the wedding. My grandfather was at that time the king of the winged monkeys, which lived in the forest near Gaelet's palace. And the old fellow loved a joke better than a good dinner. One day, before the wedding, my grandfather was flying out with his band when he saw Kailala walking beside the river. He was dressed in a rich costume of pink silk and purple velvet, and my grandfather thought he would see what he could do. At his word, the band flew down and seized Kailala, carried him in their arms until they were over the middle of the river, and then dropped him into the water. "Swim out, my fine fellow," cried my grandfather, "and see if the water has spotted your clothes." Kailala was much too wise not to swim, and he was not in the least spoiled by all his good fortune. He laughed when he came to the top of the water and swam into the shore. But when Gaelet came running out to him, she found his silks and velvet all ruined by the river. The princess was angry, and she knew, of course, who did it. She had all the winged monkeys brought before her, and she said at first that their wings should be tied, and they should be treated as they had treated Kailala and dropped in the river. But my grandfather pleaded hard, for he knew the monkeys would drown in the river with their wings tied. And Kailala said a kind word for them also, so that Gaelet finally spared them on condition that the winged monkeys should ever do, on condition that the winged monkeys should ever after do 3 times the bidding of the owner of the golden cap. We're gonna take a quick pause because we have another ad coming up. Hi, Bacon. Alright, chat, this is my reminder to you again. Please take a drink of water. I know I definitely need more water. How are we going on the puzzle as well? I love that Hadoken's fish is like just in the center of the puzzle. Big sippy of water. And if you like a guessing game, try to guess what kind of electrolytes I have in my water today. It's a fruit. Oh, Harukin moved his fishy. I find myself puzzled. Aren't we all? Arishkaga, thank you for the follow. Welcome. I really like this fidget spinner. If you guys didn't know, you can play with a fidget spinner on the Twitch stream. And if you use bits, you can get new skins for your fidget spinner. So there's some really cool ones in here. There's knives. Oh my god, there's guns too. If you scroll to the very bottom, scroll to the bottom of the list. That's so funny. Steph, is it only on desktop? I don't know. Somebody else might have to answer that. You can get the diamond bling. Your fidget spinner can be fitted with diamonds. But see, I wanted to join the puzzle, so I want to solve the puzzle too. We've only got 60 seconds. Hi, Dip. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining. It means so much to me, guys, that you come back and that you hang out with me, even if it's for a little while, but definitely if it's the whole stream. I love it when you guys spend like the whole afternoon with me, and I can't wait to share with you what's coming up soon. We've got an amazing YouTube video planned for next Friday. We have a movie night. We have a movie planned for tomorrow. If you're in American time zones, it'll be in the afternoon, but if you are across the pond in Europe, it'll be about nighttime for you. So tomorrow we're going to be doing a movie night. If you want to join that movie night, join the Discord server. I promise you, you won't get pinged for things that you don't want to get pinged for. You can choose what your notifications will be. Okay, we are back from ads, so let's keep reading. This cap had been made for a wedding present to Kailala, and it is said to have cost the princess half her kingdom. Of course, my grandfather and all the other monkeys at once agreed to the condition, and that is how it happens that we are 3 times the slaves of the owner of the golden cap, whoever it may be.
And what became of them?
Asked Dorothy, who had been greatly interested in the story. Kailala being the first owner of the golden cap, replied the monkey. He was the first to lay his wishes upon us. As his bride could not bear the sight of us, he called us all to him in the forest after he had married her, and ordered us always to keep where she could never again set eyes on the winged monkey, which we were glad to do, for we were all afraid of her. This was all we ever had to do until the golden cap fell into the hands of the wicked witch of the West, who made us enslave the Winkies, and afterward drive Oz himself out of the land of the West. Now, the golden cap is yours, and 3 times you have the right to lay your wishes upon us. As the Monkey King finished his story, Dorothy looked down and saw the green, shining walls of the Emerald City before them. She wondered at the rapid flight of the monkeys, but was glad the journey was over. The strange creatures sat the travelers down carefully before the gate of the city. The king bowed low to Dorothy and then flew swiftly away, followed by all his band.
That was a good ride,
said the little girl. Yes, and a quick way out of our troubles, replied the lion. How lucky it was you brought away that wonderful cap. That is the end of chapter 14. What is a Winky? A Winky is one of the characters. I think they said they're like, they are a people. I don't recall what the definition was. Because it's the Yellow Castle, and I don't remember the definition or like the explanation of what the Winkies were. Okay. Now, put a 1 in chat if you're ready for the next chapter. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm ready. And thank you so much to TikTok chat for continuing to like the live stream. As you like the stream, it helps push out the live stream to more people on the For You page, so keep liking. It supports. Thank you, thank you. Pro Self Love is ready. Baifu is ready. Sammy is ready. Do we have our puzzlers? Are our puzzlers ready? The puzzlers are doing a fantastic job. You guys are doing so good. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to all of our new fishies. All right. I will continue with chapter 15. Chapter 15. The Discovery of Oz the Terrible. The 4 travelers walked up to the great gate of Emerald City and rang the bell. After ringing several times, it was opened by the same guardian of the gates they had met before.
What? You are back again?
He asked in surprise. Do you not see us? Answered the Scarecrow.
But I thought you had gone to visit the Wicked Witch of the West.
We did see her, said the Scarecrow.
And she let you go again?
Asked the man in wonder. She could not help it, for she is melted, explained the Scarecrow.
Melted? Well, that is good news, indeed,
said the man.
Who melted her?
It was Dorothy, said the lion gravely.
Good gracious,
exclaimed the man. and he bowed very low indeed before her. Then he led them into his little room and locked the spectacles from the great box on all their eyes, just as he had done before. Afterward, they passed on through the gate into the Emerald City. When the people heard from the guardian of the gates that Dorothy had melted the Wicked Witch of the West, they all gathered around the travelers and followed them in a great crowd to the Palace of Oz. The soldier with the green whiskers was still on guard before the door, but he let them in at once, and they were again met with the beautiful green girl, who showed each of them to their old rooms at once, so they might rest until the great Oz was ready to receive them. The soldier had carried the news straight to Oz that Dorothy and the other travelers had come back again after destroying the Wicked Witch, but Oz made no reply. They thought the Great Wizard would send for them at once, but he did not. They had no word from him the next day, nor the next, nor the next. The waiting was tiresome and wearing, and at last they grew vexed that Oz should treat them in so poor a fashion, after sending them to undergo hardships and slavery. So the Scarecrow at last asked the green girl to take another message to Oz, saying if he did not let them in to see him at once, they would call the winged monkeys to help them and find out whether he kept his promises or not. When the wizard was given this message, he was so frightened that he sent word for them to come to the throne room at 4 minutes after 9 o'clock the next morning. He had once met the winged monkeys in the land of the West, and he did not wish to meet them again. The 4 travelers passed a sleepless night, each thinking of the gift Oz had promised to bestow on him. Dorothy fell asleep only once, and then she dreamed she was in Kansas, where Aunt Em was telling her how glad she was to have her little girl home again. Promptly at 9 o'clock the next morning, the green-whiskered soldier came to them, and 4 minutes later they all went into the throne room of the Great Oz. Of course, each one of them expected to see the wizard in the shape he had taken before, and all were greatly surprised when they looked about and saw no one at all in the room. They kept close to the door and closer to one another, for the stillness of the empty room was more dreadful than any forms they had seen Oz take. Presently, they heard a solemn voice that seemed to come from somewhere near the top of the great dome, and it said, "I am Oz, the great and terrible. Why do you seek me?" They looked again in every part of the room, and then, seeing no one, Dorothy asked,
"Where are you?"
"I am everywhere," answered the voice. "But to the eyes of common mortals I am invisible. I will now seat myself upon my throne, that you may converse with me." Indeed, the voice seemed just then to come straight from the throne itself, so they walked toward it and stood in a row while Dorothy said,
We have come to claim our promise, oh Oz.
What promise? Asked Oz.
You promised to send me back to Kansas when the Wicked Witch was destroyed,
said the girl. And you promised to give me brains, said the Scarecrow. And you promised to give me a heart, said the Tin Woodman. And you promised to give me courage, said the Cowardly Lion. Is the Wicked Witch really destroyed? Asked the voice, and Dorothy thought it trembled a little.
Yes,
she answered.
I melted her with a bucket of water.
Dear me, said the voice. How sudden. Well, come to me tomorrow, for I must have time to think it over. You've had plenty of time already, said the Tin Woodman angrily. We shan't wait a day longer, said the Scarecrow.
You must keep your promises to us.
The lion thought it might be as well to frighten the wizard, so he gave a large, loud roar, which was so fierce and dreadful that Toto jumped away from him in alarm and tipped over the screen that stood in a corner. As it fell with a crash, they looked that way, and the next moment, all of them were filled with wonder, for they saw, standing in just the spot the screen had hidden, a little old man with a bald head and a wrinkled face, who seemed to be as much surprised as they were. The Tin Woodman, raising his axe, rushed toward the little man and cried out, "Who are you?" "I am Oz, the Great and Terrible," said the little man in a trembling voice. "But don't strike me, please don't, and I'll do anything you want me to." Our friends looked at him in surprise and dismay.
I thought Oz was a great head,
said Dorothy. And I thought Oz was a lovely lady, said the Scarecrow. And I thought Oz was a terrible beast, said the Tin Woodman. And I thought Oz was a ball of fire, exclaimed the Lion. No, you are all wrong, said the little man meekly. I've been making believe.
Making believe?
Cried Dorothy.
Are you not a great wizard?
Hush, my dear, he said. Don't speak so loud, or you will be overheard and I should be ruined. I am supposed to be a great wizard.
And are you?
She asked. Not a bit of it, my dear. I'm just a common man. You're more than that, said the Scarecrow in a grieved tone. You're a humbug. Exactly so, declared the little man, rubbing his hands together as if it pleased him. I'm a humbug. This is terrible, said the Tin Woodman. How shall I ever get my heart? Or my courage? Asked the Lion. Or my brains? Wailed the Scarecrow, wiping the tears from his eyes with his coat sleeve. And we will take another pause because we have ads coming up on Twitch. I will also take this opportunity to run to the bathroom real quick. Oh god, the puzzle was loud in my ears. Let me go ahead and upload a new picture. And then I will take a quick run to the restroom. It will only be a 60-second. Yes, it's a 90-second ad. Hi, Robert. Welcome. Welcome back. I hope you're going to enjoy today's reading. We're going to continue The Wizard of Oz. We are already on, excuse me, chapter 15. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Don't forget to take another sip of water and a deep breath. Make sure you're all cozy up in your blankie. Hi, Wargamer. Welcome. And just a reminder to any of our fishies that are joining us, if you want a fishy in the background, you can send a chat message on YouTube or on Twitch. If you'd like to solve a puzzle while you listen to the story, you can either type the word puzzle in Twitch chat to get the link, or you can find the link in my beacons page. And if you'd like to play with a fidget spinner while you listen to me read, you can do that directly on Twitch. If you want to find me on another platform, my name is the same everywhere. Who's ready to continue reading? We've got a lot left in chapter 15. Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready? Are you ready? Shattered is ready. Only Shattered is ready, no one else. It's just me and you, Shattered. Perla is ready. Shattered. Yeah. Rose of Love is ready. Okay, let's get into it.
My dear friends,
Said Oz.
I pray you not to speak of these little things. Think of me, and the terrible trouble I'm in at being found out.
Doesn't anyone else know you're a humbug?
Asked Dorothy.
No one knows it but you four, and myself.
Replied Oz.
I have fooled everyone so long that I thought I should never be found out. It was a great mistake my ever letting you into the throne room. Usually I will not see even my subjects, so they believe I am something terrible.
But I don't understand,
said Dorothy, in bewilderment.
How is it that you appeared to me as a great head?
That was one of my tricks,
answered Oz.
Step this way, please, and I will tell you all about it.
He led the way to a small chamber in the rear of the throne room, and they all followed him. He pointed to one corner, in which lay the great head, made out of many thicknesses of paper and with a carefully painted face.
This I hung from the ceiling by a wire,
said Oz.
I stood behind the screen and pulled the thread to make the eyes move and the mouth open.
But what about the voice?
She inquired.
Oh, I am a ventriloquist,
said the little man.
I can throw the sound of my voice wherever I wish, so that you thought it was coming out of the head. There are the other things I used to deceive you.
He showed the Scarecrow the dress and the mask he had worn when he seemed to be the lovely lady, and the Tin Woodman saw that his terrible beast was nothing but a lot of skins sewn together, with slats to keep their sides out. As for the ball of fire, the false wizard had hung that also from the ceiling. It was really a ball of cotton, but when oil was poured upon it, the ball burned fiercely.
Really,
said the Scarecrow.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself for being such a humbug. I am. I certainly am, answered the little man sorrowfully. But it was the only thing I could do. Sit down, please. There are plenty of chairs. I will tell you my story.
They sat down and listened while he told the following tale.
I was born in Omaha.
Why, that isn't very far from Kansas,
cried Dorothy.
No, but it's farther from here,
he said, shaking his head at her sadly.
When I grew up, I became a ventriloquist, and at that, I was very well trained by a great master. I can imitate any kind of bird or beast.
Here he mewed, so like a kitten that Toto pricked up his ears and looked everywhere to see where she was.
After a time,
continued Oz,
I tired of that and became a balloonist.
What's that?
asked Dorothy.
A man who goes up in a balloon on circus day, so as to draw a crowd of people together and get them to pay to see the circus.
Oh,
she said.
I know.
Well, one day I went up in a balloon, and the ropes got twisted so that I couldn't come down again. It went up, way up, above the clouds, so far that a current of air struck it down and carried it many, many miles away. For a day and a night I traveled through the air, and on morning of the second day, I awoke and found the balloon floating over a strange and beautiful country. It came down gradually, and I was not hurt a bit, but I found myself in the midst of a strange people who, coming to see me from the clouds, thought I was a great wizard. Of course, I let them think so, because they were afraid of me, and promised to do anything I wished. Just to amuse myself, and keep the good people busy, I ordered them to build this city, and my palace, and they did it all willingly and well. Then I thought, as the country was so green and beautiful, I would call it Emerald City. And to make the name fit better, I put green spectacles on all the people so that everything they saw was green.
But isn't everything here green? Asked Dorothy.
No more than in any other city, replied Oz. But when you wear green spectacles, why, of course, everything you see looks green to you. The Emerald City was built a great many years ago. For I was a young man when the balloon brought me here, and I am a very old man now. But my people have worn green glasses on their eyes so long that most of them think it really is an Emerald City. And it certainly is a beautiful place, abounding in jewels and precious metals and every good thing that is needed to make one happy. I have been good to the people, and they like me. But ever since this pallet was built, I have shut myself up and would not see any of them. One of my greatest fears was the witches. For while I had no magical powers at all, I soon found out that the witches were really able to do wonderful things. There were 4 of them in this country, and they ruled the people who live in the north and south and east and west. Fortunately, the witches of the north and south were good, and I knew they would do me no harm. But the witches of the east and west were terribly wicked, and had they not thought I was more powerful than themselves, they would surely have destroyed me. As it was, I lived in deadly fear of them for many years, so you can imagine how pleased I was when I heard your house had fallen on the wicked witch of the east. When you came to me, I was willing to promise you anything if you would only do away with the other witch. But now that you have melted her, I am ashamed to say that I cannot keep my promises.
I think you are a very bad man,
said Dorothy.
Oh, no, my dear. I'm really a very good man, but I'm a very bad wizard. I must admit. Can't you give me brains?
Asked the Scarecrow.
You don't need them. You are learning something every day. A baby has brains, but it doesn't know much. Experience is the only thing that brings knowledge, and the longer you are on Earth, the more experience you are sure to get. That may all be true, said the Scarecrow, but I shall be very unhappy unless you give me brains.
The false wizard looked at him carefully.
Well,
he said with a sigh.
I'm not much of a magician, as I said, but if you will come to me tomorrow morning, I will stuff your head with brains. I cannot tell you how to use them, however. You must find that out yourself. Oh, thank you! Thank you! Cried the Scarecrow. I will find a way to use them. Never fear. But What about my courage?
asked the lion.
You have plenty of courage, I'm sure,
answered Oz.
All you need is confidence in yourself. There is no living thing that is not afraid when it faces danger. The true courage is in facing danger when you are afraid. And that kind of courage you have in plenty. Perhaps I have.
I gotta take a sip of water.
Perhaps I have, but I'm scared just the same,
said the lion.
I shall really be very unhappy unless you give me the sort of courage that makes one forget he's afraid. Very well. I will give you that sort of courage tomorrow, replied Oz. What about my heart? Asked the Tin Woodman. Why, as for that, answered Oz, I think you are wrong to want a heart. It makes most people unhappy. If only you knew it, you are in luck to not have a heart. That must be a matter of opinion, said the Tin Woodman. For my part, I will bear all the unhappiness without a murmur, if you will give me the heart. Very well, answered Oz meekly. Come to me tomorrow, and you shall have a heart. I've played wizard for so many years that I may as well continue the part a little longer.
And now, said Dorothy, how am I to get back to Kansas?
We shall have to think about that, replied the little man. Give me 2 or 3 days to consider the matter, and I'll try to find a way to carry you over the desert. In the meantime, you shall all be treated as my guests, and while you live in the palace, my people will wait upon you and obey your slightest wish. There is only one thing I ask in return for my help, such as it is. You must keep my secret, and tell no one that I am a humbug.
They agreed to say nothing of what they had learned, and went back to their rooms in high spirits. Even Dorothy had hope that the great and terrible humbug, as she called him, would find a way to send her back to Kansas, and if he did, she was willing to forgive him everything. With excellent timing, we have started another ad on Twitch, and we will begin the next chapter as soon as this 90-second ad is over. How is the progress on the puzzle? And I wish there was a way. Oh my gosh, you guys, did you know you can move the fidget spinner? Nobody said anything about the puzzle. Did you finish the puzzle? Hi, Preacher. Yes, we do have our fishies back. I love our fishies. They are so good to me, and they are so sweet. Hello, Reese. Welcome. I hope that to all who are joining us, we are reading The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. If you would like to solve a puzzle while you listen, you can join the community puzzle either in the link in my profile, or if you are on Twitch, You just say the word puzzle and it gives you the link. Who is ready for chapter 16? Don't forget to take a sip of water and stretch and get a big stretch, chat. Ooh. Ooh. Good fishies. Good fishies. And if you are watching on TikTok, please continue to like the stream. Shattered is ready. Hadakin is ready. Alright. Chapter 16. The Magic Art of the Great Humbug. Next morning, the Scarecrow said to his friends,
Congratulate me. I'm going to Oz to get my brains at last. When I return, I shall be as other men are.
I've always liked you as you were,
said Dorothy.
It is kind of you to like a scarecrow,
he replied.
But surely you will think more of me when you hear the splendid thoughts my new brain is going to turn out.
Then he said goodbye to them, all in a cheerful voice, and went to the throne room, where he rapped upon the door.
Come in,
said Oz. The Scarecrow went in and found the little man sitting down by the window, engaged in deep thought.
I have come for my brains,
remarked the Scarecrow, a little uneasily.
Ah, yes. Sit down in that chair, please,
replied Oz.
You must excuse me for taking your head off, but I shall have to do it in order to put your brains in their proper place. That's all right, said the Scarecrow. You are quite welcome to take my head off as long as it will be a better one when you put it on.
So the wizard unfastened his head and emptied out the straw. Then he entered the back room and took up a measure of bran, which he mixed with other great many pins and needles. Having shaken them together thoroughly, he filled the top of the Scarecrow's head with the mixture, and stuffed the rest of the space with straw to hold it in place. When he had fastened the Scarecrow's head on his body again, he said to him, Hereafter, you will be a great man, for I have given you a lot of brand new brains. The Scarecrow was both pleased and proud at the fulfillment of his greatest wish, and having thanked Oz warmly, he went back to his friends. Dorothy looked at him curiously. His head was quite bulged out the top with brains.
How do you feel?
She asked.
I feel wise indeed,
he answered earnestly.
When I get used to my brains, I shall know everything.
Why are those needles and pins sticking out of your head? Asked the Tin Woodman.
That is proof that he is sharp,
remarked the Lion. Well, I must go to Oz and get my heart, said the Woodman. So he walked to the throne room and knocked on the door. Come in, called Oz, and the Woodman entered and said, I have come for my heart. Very well, answered the little man, but I shall have to cut a hole in your breast so I can put your heart in the right place. I hope it won't hurt you.
"Oh, no," answered the woodman. "I shall not feel it at all." So Oz brought a pair of tinsmith's shears and cut a small square hole in the left side of the Tin Woodman's breast. Then, going to a chest of drawers, he took out a pretty heart made entirely of silk and stuffed with sawdust. "Isn't it a beauty?" he asked. "It is indeed," replied the woodman, who was greatly pleased. "But is it a kind heart?" "Oh, very," answered Oz. He put the heart in the woodman's breast and then replaced the square of tin, soldering it neatly together where it had been cut. "There," he said. "Now you have a heart that any men might be proud of. I'm sorry I had to put a patch on your breast, but it really couldn't be helped." "Never mind the patch," exclaimed the happy woodman. "I am very grateful to you, and shall never forget your kindness." "Don't speak of it," replied Oz. And then the Tin Woodman went back to his friends, who wished him every joy on account of his good fortune. The lion now walked to the throne room and knocked at the door. "Come in," said Oz. "I have come for my courage," announced the lion, entering the room. "Very well," answered the little man. "I will get it for you." He went to a cupboard and, reaching up to a high shelf, took down a square green bottle, the contents of which he poured into a green gold dish, beautifully carved, placing this before the Cowardly Lion, who sniffed it as if he did not like it. The wizard said, "Drink." "What is it?" "Well," answered Oz, "if it were inside you, it would be courage. You know, of course, that courage is always inside one, so that this really cannot be called courage until you have swallowed it. Therefore, I advise you to drink it as soon as possible." The lion hesitated no longer, but drank till the dish was empty. "How do you feel now?" asked Oz. "Full of courage," replied the lion, who went joyfully back to his friends to tell them of his good fortune. Oz, left to himself, smiled to think of his success in giving the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman and the lion exactly what they wanted. "How can I help being a humbug," he said, "when all these people make me do things that everybody knows can't be done? It was easy to make the Scarecrow and the lion and the woodman happy, because they imagined I could do anything. But it will take more than imagination to carry Dorothy back to Kansas. And I'm sure I don't know how it could be done."
We're in between chapters now. That's the end of chapter 16. I'm going to take a sip of water. Thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying the reading. Just a reminder to all of our chats, we are reading The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And we shall continue. Chapter 17. How the Balloon was Launched. For 3 days, Dorothy heard nothing from Oz. These were sad days for the little girl, although her friends were all quite happy and contented. The Scarecrow told them there were wonderful thoughts in his head, but he would not say what they were because he knew no one could understand them but himself. When the Tin Woodman walked about, he felt his heart rattling around in his breast, and he told Dorothy he had discovered it to be kinder and more tender than the one he had owned when he was made of flesh. The Lion declared he was afraid of nothing on earth and would gladly face an army or a dozen of the fierce Kalidas. Thus, each of the little party was satisfied except Dorothy, who longed more than ever to get back to Kansas. On the 4th day, to her great joy, Oz sent for her. And when she entered the throne room, he greeted her pleasantly.
Sit down, my dear. I think I have found a way to get you out of this country.
And back to Kansas?
She asked eagerly.
Well, I'm not sure about Kansas,
said Oz.
For I haven't the faintest notion where it lies. But the first thing to do is to cross the desert, and then it should be easy to find your way home.
How can I cross the desert?
She inquired.
Well, I'll tell you what I think,
said the little man.
You see, when I came to this country, it was in a balloon. You also came through the air, being carried by a cyclone. So I believe the best way to get across the desert will be through the air. Now, it is quite beyond my powers to make a cyclone, but I've been thinking the matter over, and I believe I can make a balloon.
How?
asked Dorothy.
A balloon,
said Oz,
is made of silk, which is coated with glue to keep the gas in it. I have plenty of silk in the palace, so it will be no trouble to make the balloon. But in all this country, there is no gas to fill the balloon with, to make it float.
If it won't float,
remarked Dorothy,
it will be of no use to us.
True,
answered Oz.
But there is another way to make it float, which is to fill it with hot air. Hot air isn't as good as gas, for if the air should get cold, the balloon would come down in the desert, and we should be lost.
We?
exclaimed the girl.
Are you going with me?
Yes, of course,
replied Oz.
I am tired of being such a humbug. If I should go out of this palace, my people would soon discover I am not a wizard, and then they would be vexed with me for having deceived them. So I have to stay shut up in these rooms all day, and it gets tiresome. I'd much rather go back to Kansas with you and be in a circus again.
I shall be glad to have your company,
said Dorothy.
Thank you,
he answered.
Now, if you will help me sew the silk together, we will begin to work on our balloon.
So, Dorothy took a needle and thread, and as fast as Oz cut the strips of silk into proper shape, the girl sewed them neatly together. First, there was a strip of light green silk, then a strip of dark green, and then a strip of emerald green, for Oz had a fancy to make the balloon in different shades of the color about them. It took 3 days to sew all the strips together, and when it was finished, they had a big bag of green silk more than 20 feet long. Then Oz painted it on the inside with a coat of thin glue to make it airtight, after which he announced that the balloon was ready. All right, we'll take another quick pause. We have a ad about to play. Sammy, I'm really happy that you're enjoying this. And I love seeing all of the puzzlers doing puzzling things. Hi, Tobias. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love that we have so many people enjoying the stream, enjoying the story, enjoying the reading, my voice. Thank you all so much for being here. Don't forget to take a drink of water. And don't forget to also stretch. Big stretchies. Oh. You're working on an art piece. Is it fan art? I hope that everyone is having a nice, relaxing day. And I'm so extremely grateful that you are giving me the opportunity to help you relax. Thank you so much, Crimson Mass Sniper, for the gifts. Thank you. Oh, really, Tobias? I bet it's coming along nicely. Ah, yes, Ateen. Are we ready to continue reading? Crimson? Thank you, Crimson. I think we can probably finish this chapter in the next 15 minutes and probably get through some of the next chapter. Hi, Bunny. Shattered is ready to read. Oh, you can't stay for now? That's okay, Crimson. There's always next time. Sammy is ready to read. Ateen, are you ready to read? Chris, I'm sorry I didn't answer earlier. I am doing lovely. I am doing wonderful. I am doing fantastic. And I'm so happy to be here. Hi, Kat. Welcome. Ateena's ready. Jackson's ready. Harukin is ready. We will continue.
But we must have a basket to ride in,
he said. So he sent the soldier with the green whiskers for a big clothes basket, which he fastened with many ropes to the bottom of the balloon. When it was all ready, Oz sent word to his people that he was going to make a visit to a great brother wizard who lived in the clouds. The news spread rapidly throughout the city, and everyone came to see the wonderful sight. Oz ordered the balloon carried out in front of the palace, and the people gazed upon it with much curiosity. The Tin Woodman had chopped a big pile of wood, and now he made a fire of it, and Oz held the bottom of the balloon over the fire so that the hot air that arose from it would be caught in the silken bag. Gradually, the balloon swelled out and rose into the air until finally the basket just touched the ground. Then Oz got into the basket and said to all the people in a loud voice, "I am now going away to make a visit. While I am gone, the Scarecrow will rule over you. I command you to obey him as you would me." The balloon was, by this time, tugging hard at the rope that held it to the ground, for the air within it was hot, and this made it so much lighter in weight than the air without it pulled without well and this made it so much lighter in weight than the air without that it pulled. What is this sentence? I'm sorry, huh? And this made it so much lighter in weight than the air without that. Than the air without that. Huh? Pulled hard to rise into the sky. Okay. Okay. Steph is glitch. Yeah, your audiobook is coming to life. Sorry. Blah. And this made it so much lighter in weight than the air without that it pulled hard to rise into the sky. "Come on, Dorothy," cried the wizard. "Hurry up, or the balloon will fly away."
I can't find Toto anywhere,
replied Dorothy, who did not wish to leave her little dog behind. Toto had run into the crowd to bark at a kitten, and Dorothy at last found him. She picked him up and ran towards the balloon. She was within a few steps of it, and Oz was holding out his hands to help her into the basket, when, crack, went the ropes, and the balloon rose into the air without her.
"Come back!"
she screamed.
"I want to go too!"
"I can't come back, my dear,"
called Oz from the basket.
"Goodbye!"
"Goodbye!"
shouted everyone, and all eyes were turned upward to where the wizard was riding in the basket, rising every moment farther and farther into the sky. And that was the last any of them ever saw of Oz, the wonderful wizard, though he may have reached Omaha safely and be there now, for all we know. But the people remembered him lovingly and said to one another, "Oz was always our friend. When he was here, he built for us this beautiful Emerald City, and now he is gone. He has left the wise Scarecrow to rule over us." Still, for many days they grieved over the loss of the wonderful wizard and would not be comforted. The glitch makes it more real, trust. I love that. I love that so much. Thank you. Hi, Rostar. It's good to see you. Welcome. Take another quick drink of water. I am now out of water. Ew, no, don't do that. That's weird. I hope you've been well. Thank you. I have, for the most part, I think.
Chapter 18. Away to the South. Dorothy wept bitterly at the passing of her hope to get home to Kansas again. But when she thought it all over, she was glad she had not gone up in a balloon, and she also felt sorry at losing Oz, and so did her companions. The Tin Woodman came to her and said,
Truly, I should be ungrateful if I failed to mourn for the man who gave me my lovely heart. I should like to cry a little because Oz is gone, if you will kindly wipe away my tears, so that I shall not rust.
"With pleasure," she answered, and brought a towel at once. Then the Tin Woodman wept for several minutes, and she watched the tears carefully and wiped them away with a towel. When he had finished, he thanked her kindly and oiled himself thoroughly with his jeweled oil can to guard against mishap. The Scarecrow was now the ruler of the Emerald City, and although he was not a wizard, the people were proud of him. "For," they said, "there is not another in the city, in all the world, that is ruled by a stuffed man." And so, as far as they knew, they were quite right. The morning after the balloon had gone up with Oz, the four travelers met in the throne room and talked matters over. The Scarecrow sat in the big throne, and the others stood respectfully before him. "We are not so unlucky," said the new ruler, "for this palace and the Emerald City belong to us, and we can just do as we please. When I remember that short time ago I was up on a pole in the farmer's cornfield, and now I am the ruler of this big city, I am quite satisfied with my lot." "I also," said the Tin Woodman, "am well pleased with my new heart, and really, that was the only thing I wished in all the world. For my part, I am content in knowing I am as brave as any beast that ever lived, if not braver," said the lion modestly.
I'm out of water now.
"If Dorothy..."
I broke, sorry.
"If Dorothy would only be contented to live in the Emerald City," continued the Scarecrow, "we might all be happy together."
"But I don't want to live here,"
cried Dorothy.
"I want to go to Kansas and live with Aunt Em and Uncle Henry."
"Well then, what can be done?" inquired the Woodman.
The Scarecrow decided to think, and he thought so hard that the pins and needles began to stick out of his brains. Finally, he said,
"Why not call the winged monkeys and ask them to carry you over the desert?"
"I never thought of that," said Dorothy joyfully. "That's just the thing. I'll go at once for the golden cap." When she brought it into the throne room, she spoke the magic words, and soon the band of winged monkeys flew in through the open window and stood beside her.
This is the second time you have called us,
said the Monkey King, before bowing to the little girl.
What do you wish?
I want you to fly me to Kansas,
said Dorothy, but the Monkey King shook his head.
That cannot be done,
he said.
We belong to this country alone and cannot leave it. There has never been a winged monkey in Kansas yet, and I suppose there never will be, for they don't belong there. We shall be glad to serve you in any way in our power, but we cannot cross the desert. Goodbye.
And with another bow, the Monkey King spread his wings and flew away through the window, followed by all his band. Dorothy, who was ready to cry with disappointment, said,
I have wasted the charm of the golden cap to no purpose, for the winged monkeys cannot help me.
That is certainly too bad, said the tender-hearted woodman. The Scarecrow was thinking again, and his head bulged out so horribly that Dorothy feared the worst.
Let us call in the soldier with the green whiskers,
he said,
and ask his advice.
So the soldier was summoned and entered the throne room timidly, for while Oz was alive, he never was allowed to come farther than the door.
This little girl,
said the Scarecrow to the soldier,
wishes to cross the desert. How can she do so?
I cannot tell, answered the soldier,
for nobody has ever crossed the desert, unless it is Oz himself.
Is there no one who can help me?
asked Dorothy earnestly.
Glinda might,
he suggested.
Who is Glinda?
inquired the Scarecrow.
The Witch of the South. She is the most powerful of all the witches, and rules over the Quadlings. Besides, her castle stands on the edge of the desert, so she might know a way to cross it.
Glinda is a good witch, isn't she?
asked the child.
The Quadlings think she is good,
said the soldier,
and she is kind to everyone. I have heard that Glinda is a beautiful woman, who knows how to keep young in spite of the many years she has lived.
How can I get to our castle?
asked Dorothy.
The road is straight to the south,
he answered,
but it is said to be full of dangers to travelers. There are wild beasts in the woods, and a race of queer men who do not like strangers to cross their country. For this reason, none of the Quadlings ever come to the Emerald City.
We have another ad starting, and I also need to refill my water. And it looks like the next puzzle is going to be fixed. It's gonna be done soon. So, yippee! Look at the puzzle. Oh my god. You guys are puzzling so good. Okay, I'm gonna refill my water. You guys are gonna puzzle away. And, yeah. I'll be right back.
Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, my fishies. Are you ready to resume? The wonderful Wizard of Oz, who has escaped. Bro really said, peace out. And he left. I started the next puzzle. Supposedly. Did it work? I hope so. I don't know, did you guys break the puzzle thing? Is the puzzle puzzling? And you know what? A special shout out and thank you to all of our viewers on YouTube right now. Thank you for being here. Like, it's pretty rare that we have any viewers hanging out on YouTube, but I just want to give a special thank you to you guys. And I don't know, sorry, the on-screen puzzle is not working, but hopefully any of our Twitch chatters who are puzzling can tell me that the real puzzle is working, please. Okay, and we are going to continue reading. Are you ready? You know what? Maybe we need to do an ASMR stream sometime. Rose Star is ready. Pro Self Love is ready. A teen is ready. I am very hungry. I'm very hungry. Do we think that we could read chapter 19 too? Okay. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I found where we left off. Non-reading ASMR? Yes. We could do an ASMR stream. We'll see. We'll see. Sometime. At some point. The soldier then left them, and the Scarecrow said, "It seems, in spite of the dangers, that the best thing Dorothy can do is to travel to the land of the South and ask Glinda to help her. For, of course, if Dorothy stays here, she will never get back to Kansas." "You must have been thinking again," remarked the Tin Woodman. "I have," said the Scarecrow. "I shall go with Dorothy," declared the Lion, "for I am tired of your city and long for the woods and the country again. I'm really a wild beast, you know. Besides, Dorothy will need someone to protect her." "That is true," agreed the Woodman. "My axe may be of service to her, so I also will go with her to the land of the South." "When shall we start?" asked the Scarecrow. "Are you going?" they asked in surprise. "Certainly. If it wasn't for Dorothy, I should never have had brains. She lifted me from a pole in the cornfield and brought me to the Emerald City. So my good luck
is all due to her, and I shall never leave her until she starts back to Kansas for good and all.
Thank you, said Dorothy gratefully. You are all very kind to me, but I should like to start as soon as possible.
We shall go tomorrow morning,
returned the Scarecrow.
So now, let us all get ready, for it will be a long journey.
That is the end of chapter 18. Now, we are at the 2-hour mark, and each day we have been reading about 6 chapters. So we could end stream here. And I am very hungry. I'm surprised you guys can't hear my stomach.
Excuse me? Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry.
Mommy? Sorry. Oh, me? No, I couldn't. I'm surprised you guys can't hear my tummy rumbling. Well, if you miss my voice, there is always some videos on social media that you can watch, or my favorite option, you can always check out my YouTube channel. I have many videos for you to listen to, short stories or poetry, or you can even go back to my live streams from last year. You can listen to all of those. You can watch me play some games. There's many options, so if you're not able to catch stream, it's okay. I highly recommend, if you're not already in the Discord server, please join the Discord server, because you can choose what you would like notifications for. We will not bother you unless it is important information that you need to know. Nothing beats the live experience. Perhaps, though we do have a large group of individuals who are not able to catch live streams, and they tend to catch the VODs after they're posted. So we always want to keep our VOD watchers in mind. Thank you, Rostar. You're very kind. Why did you post what I said about socks? I don't know that it was you that said that about socks. I think that it was Harlequin that said that about socks. But if you aren't already in the Discord server, please join the Discord server so you can get all of the information that you need to know quickly and easily, and it's right there, and you get to hang out with the community. And we've got some exciting things coming up. I've got some posts and some announcements to make in the server, so do keep an eye out for that. Other than that, please consider following, or on YouTube, also subscribing. I mean, across all platforms. Please consider following and subscribing to support me, even if you really like your fidget spinner on Twitch stream and you want that to be a fancy new color. That's cool too.
You can give bits to change your fidget spinner color. And a special shout out to Mara for introducing that to me. It's really cool. And we've got some exciting things planned for next week. If you are not familiar with my schedule, I stream Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays. Next Thursday, we will be doing Dead by Daylight with high anxiety. So my audio will be different, my setup will be different, but we're going to be playing Dead by Daylight. The community earned this for a charity stream, so we're going to play Dead by Daylight. Okay? And then I think we might be able to finish The Wonderful Wizard of Oz on Friday. So I do hope that you'll come back and you'll join me again next week. But until then, this is the part where we say our goodnights, our goodbyes, and our see you laters. I will be back again on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. And until then, please drink your water, eat your food, be kind to yourself and others. We are going to raid out, so copy the raid message, !raid. And I forget what else I normally say, but have a good night. I'll see you next time.